What's up, everybody? We're back. End of the bench show, where the fans go. Episode 18. Joined here by Pat for his weekly spot. Gonna talk about guys that we just fucking hated were on our team. Something nice and fun. It's all in jest. I think, Pat, that's a good thing to say off the bat. We're nothing malicious towards these guys. We just
No, we
they didn't
just prefer
perform.
them. Yeah, we just prefer them to not ever associate themselves with our teams again.
Yeah, basically that sums it up well. Before we get into that, we still don't have baseball, Pat, and I know a lot of this list is just judging by your submissions, my submissions, and some listener submissions. It's heavy baseball, so maybe we could just put Rob Manfred on the list for everyone here. I think everyone
Yeah,
would appreciate it.
yeah. I don't know how any other commissioner who hates the sport in which he commissions, but he
Yeah.
takes the cake.
Yeah, I mean, people could
I mean,
say, Roger Goodell's an asshole, but I mean, he clearly likes football, you know?
clearly,
Like,
yeah. I mean, Rob Manfred, I think he's trying to dismantle the league, and he's doing a pretty damn good job of it in terms of the different rule changes and everything that he's done.
yeah.
So yeah.
It's weird, right? Because, like, when people ask you, is baseball going to come back? Like, I always say, like, I don't think they're going to come back. But then, like, you remember that Manfred could just be like, oh, no, actually, you guys are all obligated to play or you're all under breach of contract.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't consider that coming back because I'm not positive that the players would give a shit. And I think they would just call us bluff, to be honest.
Pretty much,
So,
yeah. I mean, and then in theory could ultimately lead to a strike, like any other union-employer relationship. If they don't want to work for, in their worlds, unfair terms, then they're not gonna. It seems as simple as that.
Yeah, right. Like, at the end of the day, baseball may come back, but there's a very real possibility that it's just forced on everyone. And if that's the case, is it really back? I would say no. But, like I said, it's June 10th. This was the day that, Trevor Plouffe said players would be going to spring training 2.0. 7:39, and the only baseball update I got today was about this kid getting drafted number 1 overall by the Tigers. So that's where we're at with baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a lot of guys on this list. We got a lot of listeners who chimed in with responses. And all the regulars, really. Matt DeFranco chimed in, Chris Burkowski, friend of the show, Nick Taborski, friend of the show and monthly supporter, and John 2, monthly supporter and friend of the show. I think, Pat, when John chatted me on Instagram with his list, I got like the alert that like John sent the end of the bench a message, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to look at this because knowing John the way we do, I thought it was going to be it ended up being a lot more tame than I thought it was going to be. I thought he was going to go off the rails and just list like 25 guys, but he kept it short. He calls it his Mount Rushmore of hatred.
Okay, all right.
And
so why don't we get the ball rolling and let's see what Mr. Two has to say.
Yeah, let's do it backwards than usual. Let's do listeners first because they deserve it for interacting, taking the time out of the day.
That they do.
And yeah, let's go with John's first. So I'm just gonna read them like one by one, and then we'll react after, give the thoughts. So he has Alex Rodriguez when he played for the Yankees, Kyle Farnsworth for when he played for the Yankees, Tavares Jackson for when he played for the Vikings, and Mark Stahl, who still plays for the Rangers. And I know from going to many hockey games with John and being in a hockey group chat with me, John, and Taborski, his hatred for Mark Stahl is extremely real, and it's rivaled like basically only by Tavares Jackson. There's it's Mark Stahl is number 1 for him, I guarantee it, and then everyone else is right below him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with I would say I'll say 3 of those 4.
I'm actually by A-Rod, probably.
No, well, I wasn't sure because I don't really talk too much hockey with John, and I'm not in on that group chat of yours. Also because I'm an Islander fan, he's the Ranger fan. So, I mean, I'm sure he's mentioned his hatred of Mark Stahl with me around. But honestly, that was the one I was surprised with. I wasn't surprised with the previous three because I have heard him basically shit on all three of those previous players. So, I mean, A-Rod doesn't surprise me in the least bit. I remember years ago when Kyle Farnsworth was a Yankee, John would constantly talk about how much he just sucked.
He did.
And
he wasn't great.
And you know, Tavares Jackson, he was like that. You know, one of those guys that was just he was just quarterback because there was no one else, and John would talk about how much just how god awful he was. So I'm not surprised about those three.
Dude, Farnsworth played for a lot of teams.
He did. He also played semi-professional football, I might add, after his baseball career was over. He played like middle linebacker.
So yeah,
he was a Met too. Kyle Farnsworth.
Yeah, he was. He was a Met for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he actually did 10 years in the AL and 10 years in the NL, which I think is, I mean, cool is like, you know, a stretch, but you know, it's interesting. But yeah, I'm looking at Farnsworth numbers with the Yankees. Trying to find like he had a 1.39 WHIP, so that's not good.
No.
And your FIP is supposed to be low, right, Pat? This is your area.
Yeah, FIP is fielding independent pitching. It's basically supposed to just focus on everything that the pitcher can control.
So if it's a 4.7, that's not good.
That's
right?
terrible. That's terrible. That's god-awful.
We got to where we needed to be. His ERA plus with the Yankees was a 104, and I think 100 is like the baseline for that, right? Or is that
for which one?
ERA plus.
Yeah, ERA plus 100 is average. Anything more than that, it means you are above average. Anything less, below, obviously.
Damn, dude. I don't want to totally shit on Kyle Farnsworth as a Pirate because I can't find how many games he played for them.
I'll look it up too.
Hold on. Oh, he played 9 games. He played 9 games. Finished 7 for the Pirates. His ERA plus was 359.
I mean, that's a small sample size.
Yeah, but still, he's gonna be a small sample size reliever. I mean.
Well, how many games?
Bottom line is
you just said how many games was that?
9.
Okay, well, I mean, there you go. I mean, I'm looking at it now. Baseball Reference, you know, always great. 9 games, he had a 1.04 ERA for the Pirates. That doesn't mean shit. I mean, it's 9 games.
Yeah, but you know, this is the list of people we hate, so I want to validate John.
No, of course. I mean, but also looking, you know, the rest of his career numbers.
He's a good,
look at the ones where.
Pitcher.
Well, I mean, for a guy, for what he did, his job, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe he was. I never was a Kyle Farnsworth guy, but I didn't really see enough of him to hate him. So I'd understand. You know, he spent what 2.5 years with the Yankees. He spent a year with the Mets, and honestly, I hardly remember that season. Wasn't Mets. So
it says 3 with the Yankees, but he may have been a deadline acquisition.
It was a deadline deal. It looks like in 2008 he went to Detroit, potentially mid-season, I would say. Yeah, he had 45 games for New York, 16 games in Detroit that year.
Well, he had a 6 ERA with Houston, so maybe teams were using the cheating scandal against the Astros when he was pitching.
Yeah,
you know?
That's what he's going to stick with to back up that 6.7 ERA.
It was the reverse scheme that the Astros are running. I mean, you said you're not surprised by A-Rod. I'm not surprised by A-Rod because I know how much John doesn't like him. But what I will say and what I always say is if you're a Yankee fan, you do not win without A-Rod. We don't win the World Series without A-Rod or Matsui or a number of other guys. So that's why
I've never heard
I hate A-Rod.
No, I don't know why you would. I thought you were going to bring up someone like everyone hated because you said Matsui. I'm like, I've never heard one Yankee fan say one bad thing about Matsui.
No, I just like to mention Matsui whenever I can.
He's like the one guy I remember everyone loved. So I don't know why. I was like, who hates Matsui? Are you trying to get at something, Nick?
He was the man. I fucking miss him. that's it. I mean, Tavares Jackson. I mean, everyone knows he sucks. I mean, that's not a surprise. Mark Stahl, like, isn't it? John's gonna be mad, but whatever. Mark Stahl was not a terrible hockey player his whole time with the Rangers. He had some concussions and kind of went downhill from there. He definitely hurts the team more than he helps the team nowadays. Excuse me. But I mean, whatever. We don't. It's not that. It's not that big of a deal. Let's go to Taborski, and just right off the bat, Taborski texted me all these, and I'm like, why'd you give me all hockey players, bro? Like, he knows, like, I think
that's what he hates.
He set me up for failure because he knows I like to talk a little bit about everyone that people put down, and he knows that. I mean, I don't even know how to say some of these people's names.
All right,
Pat.
let's just say Taborski. This is just basically going to be we're going to say their names and
take his word for it.
Yeah, we'll take your word for it.
I told him I'd be more than happy to read like a description of why you hate them, and he said, "No, I'm not sending that to you." So that's that. But his one not hockey guy is a guy that he said he wanted me to apologize to you and to all other Met fans listening.
Okay, let's go.
Because it literally, when I say his name, supposedly Met fans die a little inside. And that is Aaron Heilman. Pat's not happy. For those who are not watching on YouTube, I think he's crying.
I'm not crying. I guess I'll just say this. He's the top of my list. I mean.
Yeah. Aaron Heilman, I mean, I knew he sucked.
Oh, yes. He did.
I mean,
so basically, I got a couple numbers from his time with the Mets. I'll just go over. He had 6 seasons with the Mets. He had a 4.24 ERA, 330 runs given up. 308 of those were earned, and his WHIP was 1.362.
It's not what you want.
No, it's not what you want, especially as a guy who was seen as in a sense, like a number 2 or 3 that they relied on at the time. And of course, the biggest reason everyone hates him is 2006 NLCS Game 7. It's Aaron Heilman that gives up the home run to Yadier Molina. I mean, every Met fan, you hear Yadier Molina, you think, God, fuck him.
Mm-hmm.
If it's me, every time I hear Aaron Heilman, I'll say, fuck him because of that. And you got to remember, this was a Yadier Molina who didn't hit his first several years in the league. He was all defense, as what most Molinas were throughout their careers. You know, Yadi started hitting, maybe 2000. I'd have to look at his numbers, but he didn't really become that offensive guy until a little bit later in his career. At the point he gave up that home run, he had 16 career home runs to his name in the season. And he gives up, out of everyone in that lineup, he probably could have given a home run up to. It's got to be fucking Yadi Molina. And it just always seemed like Heilman, every time he came into a game in some sort of big spot, he would just unravel. He would just blow everything. I honestly, there's not one good word I can think about that man. I don't even know him as a person. And if I ever had the opportunity, I wouldn't want to meet him because I'd probably just walk up to him and be like, fuck you, and just walk away. Because, I mean, 2006 was supposed to be the Mets year, and he's the one who pretty much just ripped our hearts out. Outside of, if it's not Molina, it's Aaron Heilman who ripped our hearts out. So, yeah, fuck him. And Taborski, you and I are right there, buddy.
That's painful, because you said that was 2006, right, Pat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I'm not going to look at, his full stat line, but, if you just look at the ERA, his 3 best years were 2005 to 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of sucks that, people hate him during, for something that happened, in his quote-unquote Mets prime,
No, it just one moment, I guess, there. I guess I won't use this argument where one moment can change the way you perceive someone.
It could.
Well, you can, but then a lot of people will be like, "Oh, Beltran, he was a terrible Met. He was caught looking on 3 strikes." But what Beltran did for the Mets in his career completely surpasses everything that Aaron Heilman did for the Mets during his Met career.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I get you can say. I mean, it's not just that one reason I hate Aaron Heilman. I didn't like him at all during his time with the Mets because he was not a guy I wanted to see come in the game, at any point. And
well, he had a 4.24 ERA with the Mets, so I mean,
he wasn't good. I mean,
he had a 100 ERA plus, so he was league average with the Mets. That's fucking hilarious.
Well, in league average in terms of ERA, but everything else, that man, I don't know how he stayed in that bullpen as long as he did. I really don't.
He had a 4.09 FIP with the Mets.
I don't get. I don't know. It's
That's
just
worse than
Dvorsky and Dvorsky and most Met fans who remember vividly the mid 2000s teams. 5, 6, 7, 8. During the unfortunate collapse years. We all remember Aaron Howman, and I don't think I've met one Met fan who was happy. When he came into the game.
Yeah, and Matt DeFranco, who we'll get into later, he also chose Aaron Heilman. I know he was your top guy as well, so Dvorsky was definitely right on the money. Aaron Heilman, not a good guy in Metland.
Nope. No.
Let's finish off his list. He went Ranger heavy here, so this should be fun. I'm sure I'll butcher
just
most
say
of these
them,
names.
and we'll move on unless you have something to say.
Well, we have to touch on the last one because it's like an inside joke at this point.
Then that's something that you guys.
You put Wade Redding. We're gonna play a game with Dvorsky's. See how much Scott knows. So Wade Redding, I think he was a defender. If you put Wade Redding in on Google, his literal hockey career doesn't even fucking pop up. So this is a terrible. I would have to search Wade Redding hockey player.
Wade Redding.
Wade Redding. Unless he spelled it wrong. Oh, he spelled it wrong.
I think he spelled it wrong.
He set me up. He set me up for failure.
Wayne Redding.
He was a defender,
Canadian.
So I was right.
Yeah. He played. Let me get.
No, we don't need all that shit. He's not worth it.
No, I'm just gonna tell you how many years he played on the Rangers.
Oh, okay.
He played 2 seasons with the Rangers.
Yeah.
That's it. 2 seasons.
I think
he must have done something.
Those were 2 seasons that I played NHL video games, I think.
It was 08-09 and 09-10.
Yeah, sounds about right. This is a name. Meek Malik.
Sounds like a rapper.
Meek Mill. I think he was a defender. It may be Meek Malik, but I think he's from like
it's probably Meek Malik.
Czechoslovakia or something.
Let's see.
Whatever.
Yeah, I try to look it up, and
this is a tough segment for the fans, but whatever.
Dvorsky, we love you, bro, but come on, dude.
We're gonna fight through it. Cody McLeod, who he told me how to say his last name, even though I knew it. So fuck you, Dvorsky. Dylan McElrath. He's a recent one. I'm pretty sure he was on the Rangers like last year, maybe even some of this year. And then I know this is one of his number 1 guys, Nick Holden. He was a defender for the Rangers. I think now he is on the Bruins, or he was on the Bruins at least. He was absolutely terrible for the Rangers, and John and Dvorsky would always rip him, and then I would defend him because I saw him like score a goal one time. And it's so much of a joke between us that when Dvorsky became a monthly supporter of the End of the Bench show, he put his name as Nick Holden.
Of course he did.
Because he knew that I would know it was him. So that's it. That's Dvorsky, hockey guy.
Yeah.
He'll have to come on and just like talk about
it.
Yeah,
I think that's something that you guys can definitely discuss.
You're gonna bow out of that one.
Yeah, if you guys are gonna constantly talk about Ranger stuff, I don't know if I'd really bring much to the conversation.
We'll do it on a Tuesday or Thursday then.
So seeing as how we already touched on one of Matt DeFranco's guys, why don't we go him next, and we round out his list.
Let's do Matt. Yeah, let's do Matt. Matt got a haircut today. He was very excited. Good job, Matt.
Oh, I'm going tomorrow, or either to walk in or schedule an appointment. My shit's gotta go.
Yeah.
This is just.
I've resorted to the hat.
That's all I've been doing for the most part.
Matt's second guy, his only other guy on his list was Jason Bay, another Met.
Okay.
I remember Jason Bay being very good for the Pirates. Very good, maybe a strong statement, but being good for the Pirates. And then he went Mets and then Red Sox, right? Or was it Pirates, Red Sox, Mets?
It was Red Sox because he was just come off that big season with the Sox. So he signed with the Mets before the 2010 season. The previous year with Boston, 2009, he was an All-Star. He came off a year where he batted .267 with a .921 OPS, 36 home runs, 119 ribbies. So he had a very good year. He actually finished 7th in the MVP voting that year. I don't know if it really says much. Then he goes and signs this big deal with the Mets. And he kind of just shut down. I mean, he got injured a lot, but he in no way was the player that the Mets were going to be buying. And a lot of people to this day will consider him to be the worst contract that the Mets have ever signed in terms of free agent. He's not on my list because I liked the signing when it occurred. And I was just more upset that it didn't pan out. I didn't necessarily despise him because he was a good player. I liked him when he was in Pittsburgh. I liked him in that year, a year or two that he was in Boston. So I didn't despise him. I was pissed because we threw all this money away. It was the same offseason where Matt Holliday was a free agent. So I wanted the Mets to either go after him or Bay. They chose Bay. I was happy.
That's when Holliday went to the Rockies, right?
That is when Holliday
he started.
He was coming off of the Rockies.
Oh, into the A's.
I think it was to the A's, and then he ended up going to St. Louis, where yeah. So.
Got it. Sorry to cut you off.
No. I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, I understand if he's on a lot of Met fans' lists. He's just not on mine because I liked the signing at first. It just didn't pan out, and I mean, that's what is so heartbreaking about it.
Yeah, I understand him being on the list. I know Matt very well. I knew he was gonna, if he was to respond to the Instagram story, I knew he would put Jason Bay down. But Pat, didn't Jason Bay kind of? He didn't like overstay his welcome with the Mets though, didn't he? Like, didn't he retire like kind of early?
His exact deal, I'll let you know right now. Listeners, just know that we are constantly checking our sources and such to make sure that we don't give any incorrect information.
But yeah, while you look that up, like in my head, for some reason, I just feel like he got hurt. He wasn't like himself anymore, and he just called it quits. Like he didn't like, fuck you guys over by staying around.
No, it wasn't. All right, yeah. So it wasn't him. It was actually like a mutual termination. So in November of 2012,
that's right.
He had an additional year on his contract, and both he and the Mets said this shit's not working out. It's just this relationship is done, and then they terminated the contract right then and there. And then he went to the Mariners for like a year, and then he retired in 2014.
All right, so at least he did like the noble thing by the Mets then. It sounds like. He sucked, but whatever.
I don't know how it was worded, but it seems like both sides basically. He suffered so many injuries too with the Mets. Concussion. I think he had rib injury. I think he also hurt his shoulder. I remember one game specifically where he got into he slammed hard into the wall, and you just looked at him as like, that's it, he's done. There's no way he's gonna be anything of what we expect him to be. But yeah, it happens. Injuries happen. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Let's go to Perkowski's because I think this is gonna surprise you. I think, and I have to get Perkowski's reason up on my phone. Okay. But he only submitted one to us, which is good. I thought he was gonna go off, but that's okay.
Baseball?
Yeah. So Perkowski's a Yankee fan, and he chose Nick Swisher.
Really?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, myself included, when he sent that, I wrote back to him and was like, "Oh my!" And a lot of people.
I need to hear the reason for this because I know I like Nick Swisher, and I know a lot of Yankee fans who like Nick Swisher.
So I kind of need to hear the reason why he hated
A
him.
lot of Yankee fans like Nick Swisher, the person, and like the teammate, and like the goofy guy in the clubhouse. Like he was good for morale. So a lot of people like Nick Swisher, but Perkowski's reasoning was the 2012 playoff run did me in. I can't tell you how many times he struck out and walked back with that big fucking grin on his face. You hit 167 in the playoffs. Get fucking mad, frustrated. Something over than jovial, you asshole. Ah, man.
I can
Perkowski gets so
feel.
riled up. It's amazing. I fucking love
I
it.
know, but I love it. I love the passion that he shows when it comes to his sports. I'm with him right there.
But it's true.
I didn't know. I didn't know the playoffs here. I know. I'm seeing the grin, Nick Swisher's grin, that he's talking about in my head, with that big ass lip full of dip. If there's anything I remember about Nick Swisher, it's that, where he just looked like his bottom lip is protruding out for how much dip he used. But I mean, some people hate people who seem so beloved, and it happens. I'm just shocked.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think like, oh, Nick Swisher, like he was on the World Series team in 2009, but like ever since then, like it was. Perkowski is right. Like it was not fun watching those teams play in the playoffs after 2009. I mean, in 2010, in 2010, Nick Swisher hit .091 in the ALCS against Texas.
Yeah, it's not going to be any good.
He hit .333 the series before against Minnesota, but like when the Yankees play Minnesota, no fans actually count those stats because we always kill Minnesota, so it's like a moot point.
Fair.
And then 2011 against Detroit in the ALDS, he hit .211. 2012 against Baltimore in the ALDS, he hit .111. 2012 in the ALCS, he had .250, and then 2013 was with the Indians, and he hit 0.
Yeah.
So
I mean, looking at it, I can definitely see people's frustrations. He didn't hit at all, really.
It's tough. I mean, but a lot of people on those teams for the Yankees didn't hit after 2009 in the playoffs. Like Curtis Granderson's another one that I didn't put on my list, but I think we've had this talk. Like Met fans love Granderson, and I'm like, yeah, he had good regular seasons for the Yankees, but then kind of shit the bed in the playoffs for us. So like he's kind of on my shit list, but it's kind of the same thing as Nick Swisher. But Nick Swisher definitely always being happy. Well, I mean, look, as fans, we want to see our players, the players we root for, care as much as we care. So
That's fair.
But that's it. I mean, those are the listener responses. We got Jason Bay, Aaron Heilman, Nick Swisher, Wade Redding, Meek Malik, Cody McLeod, Dylan McElrath, Nick Holden, A-Rod, Kyle Farnsworth, Tavares Jackson, and Mark Stahl. And then to go back to John's, because John is a very big Vikings fan. He's the only Vikings fan on Long Island, in my opinion, besides his dad and his grandma. I asked him, like, why isn't Kirk Cousins on the list? Because I know you hate Kirk Cousins.
Oh, he's Kirk Cousins' biggest fan. What are you talking about?
He gave him Kirk Cousins as the honorable mention because John likes A-Rod, the announcer. So he said A-Rod may come off his Mount Rushmore of hate for Kirk Cousins, but at this time, Kirk Cousins is safe. But I'm pretty sure John's dad would put Kirk Cousins on his list.
Probably. I mean, we'd have to ask him.
Who's that kicker I always make fun of John?
Blair Walsh.
Blair Walsh, yeah.
Yeah, I honestly was waiting to hear Blair Walsh as a Viking.
I was hoping Vogel would write in with the Saints guy who missed the tackle in the Minneapolis Miracle. Like there were a lot that I was ready to shit on people for that they just didn't deliver. I guess they knew what was going to happen if they delivered,
Yeah, I hear you.
No one's safe. No one's safe on the event show. I'll rip on anyone. All right, Pat. So let's get to our list.
All right.
And we have 4 each.
Yeah.
It's cool that you have a Jet because that's the team we share, and I don't have any Jets. I mean, I have Jets off the top of my head. And I think
nothing like you could really get into.
No, I think I will say one. I'll say one off the bat because we did a lot of baseball already. So let's start with the football one.
Let's throw in. Yeah.
Fuck, hold on. I have to fact check myself actually.
Oh boy.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm right. Okay. Mark Sanchez. And before you react, I just want to say I do not hate Mark Sanchez. So it automatically sounds weird, but Mark Sanchez got a very bad rap. I think that he could have been just fine as our quarterback for many years. Why I hate Mark Sanchez, why Mark Sanchez is on this list is because of the butt fumble.
I knew that was going to be it. And
it's not because, like, you know, look, I'm sure it happens to other teams. It just didn't happen to another team. But like Mark Sanchez having the butt fumble makes the Jets like that's the Jets joke for my lifetime.
I agree.
So that's why he's on this list. But you know, it hurt me to put it on there.
Nah, I mean, I'll be honest. I did like Mark Sanchez. I thought he was a pretty decent quarterback. I mean, it was the defense that really helped his teams win. I mean, the Jets at that point had one of the best defenses in the league, I remember. But he did a fairly good job on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, the butt fumble is going to be the main thing that people remember about him. And I think what doesn't help is that it was also against the Patriots. Games like that. Yeah, on Thanksgiving. You know, so games like that, people are going to remember. And it also doesn't help that ESPN, the turd nuggets that they are, constantly play it as the all-time not top 10 because they they can't put any other good content on because they're just terrible. Which is why we see so many analysts or whatever not associated with ESPN anymore because all the other major sports have their own networks. But going back to Sanchez, I understand your hate or your dislike because of that one. One moment.
And it's not even like a dislike for Sanchez; it's just a dislike because like he is the butt of the joke that are the Jets for my lifetime. No pun intended.
No, you meant the pun. That's
I planned it out pretty well.
I know you did.
All right. So who was one of your Jets?
All right. So my first Jet that immediately came to mind that I absolutely despised was Kyle Wilson. The cornerback. Okay. I was looking at some of the numbers. I don't remember some of this. In 2010, he was drafted. He was first round pick, 29th overall. He was somehow considered the top cornerback coming out of Boise State for that draft. Like he came off the board and be like, "Oh, yeah, it was a great pick." Boise State, cover corner, everything like that. I don't know what some people saw, but every time I saw Kyle Wilson try and cover someone, he did a absolute shit job. He was god awful at his job. He couldn't cover for shit. I don't know if but I don't remember those things. I don't know if Boise kind of ran a zone coverage, but he got beat on almost what seemed to be like almost every play I remember watching. And he's also that douchebag corner where the quarterback will overthrow the ball or miss his receiver by a mile. And the cornerback will be like, "That's right, bitch, you can't do nothing. You didn't do shit. It was a bad throw. You lost your coverage. Had it been a good throw, that's 6. And you just fucking suck." I hated Kyle Wilson with a passion. And I looked at various other like Jet fan boards and all that I've seen online. I just looked up Kyle Wilson Jets sucked. The first 5 or 6 were all like fan boards of like he is the absolute worst cornerback I ever remember seeing play. So I'm glad I'm not the only one who believes that. But Kyle Wilson is without doubt my most hated Jet over the last 10 years.
Yeah, and I remember him as a penalty machine too for some reason. I don't know.
I don't remember his penalty numbers. All I remember is that I feel like there was busted coverage every time. He had I think one year he had 2 interceptions, but they must have been flukes because that guy could not cover for shit.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we're talking about the Jets secondary here. More often than not, they are penalty machines, so it's a fair assumption for me to make. Pro Football Reference Pad has this Hall of Fame monitor for each player. So I went to it for Kyle Wilson. The average Hall of Fame DB gets a 98.77.
And what does he have?
4.9.
You have no idea how happy I was when I heard that he was gone. I was like, "Fuck yes, let's go."
He is 1,156th among DBs in the Hall of Fame monitor on Football Reference. So that's.
He's
But he ran a 4.440, Pat. Come on.
I don't care how fast you run. If you can't cover someone, it don't mean shit.
Yeah, that's apparently not what matters to these NFL people.
No, but Kyle Wilson is without number one on my most hated players just for my teams.
Yeah.
But when we discussed the topic, I'm like, right off the head, I'm like, all right, Howman and Kyle Wilson. That's all I know. I'll look into a couple of the others.
Yeah, and let's do your other football one, just so we can wrap
my
up
other
that
football
sport.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. So my other football one was a more recent guy that I'm sure a lot of Jet fans will remember, and that's Trumaine Johnson.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw my
cornerback
computer
again.
out the window.
Yeah. He signed that 5-year deal, $72 million, in 2018. He put up a couple decent numbers, but for the money he was getting paid and everything like that, he was an absolute bust in terms of that contract. I mean, he was a penalty machine. He was constantly getting penalties in big spots on big plays. I think there was some locker room issues. Like, some people just didn't like dealing with him. He would constantly be late to like meetings and shit. Like, he just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He just gave up a vibe like, I don't give a fuck. And not to mention, there were times in certain games apparently that I looked up, his backups were outplaying him. You know, the money that you're paying for Trumaine Johnson, you're getting the same production out of him that you are a guy who's probably making league minimum. So
yeah.
I'm so glad that he was cut, or that we released him. We severed ties on him, and I think it was $11 million came off the board because of that or something. I'd have to look it up again.
Right.
Yeah, so like that's $11 million that can now be reinvested into guys who are actually going to make a difference, and not be just a complete waste of a roster spot. Yeah, those are my two guys. Leave it at that.
So I have two numbers on Trumaine Johnson. 2019, he was significantly worse than he was in 2018. And he actually, I mean, I don't know if he got hurt in 2019 or he just got straight up benched.
He did have an injury. I do remember seeing that. I don't remember what it was. I'll try and find it again myself because I did look up some of his information.
Right. Well, then this number is a little suspect. So let's do the 2018 number. So in 2018, the completion percentage allowed on targets was 59.7. So that's not good for those keeping track at home. That means obviously the quarterback is more successful than not. In 2019, on 27 targets to receivers being covered by Trumaine Johnson let up a catch 74.1% of the time. So a very small sample size, but it clearly wasn't going to get much better.
Do you have his penalty numbers by chance? Because I swear he got flagged on like every series. For whatever it may have been, unsportsmanlike or holding or just something. He got flagged. I feel like he got flagged for so much.
I don't think they have it on.
They don't show it? I thought they did for some reason.
They have to show it somewhere. It's probably not like PEN, which is what I'm assuming it would be, which is probably the problem. But yeah, I mean, it's not good. I know it's not good. We don't need a number to prove that. Do you want to guess his Hall of Fame monitor?
No, is it better or worse?
It's better than Kyle Wilson.
Okay, I would figure that. I don't know, and it's like teens, maybe 20s. I don't know.
13.23.
That's it? Oh,
yeah. That's.
I mean, he had some good numbers early in his career, so I'm like, maybe.
I mean, he's only
more than that, but
he's only played 8 years.
Yeah, but 8 years in football is a lot, though.
That's true. I mean, it's a low number, but he's also like
unless you're a quarterback, or you're fucking Frank Gore, 8 years is a full NFL career.
Yeah, he's played 102 games. I mean, that's just how bad he was against the Jets, and I'm sure it all as a Jet, and I'm sure it also takes into account that like outlier season of 2019.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, those are the two guys that I just every time I think of players that I hated for the Jets, those two immediately will come to mind for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think what made Tremaine Johnson hurt is that I was old enough to like understand that that was like supposed to be a good signing, and then it just flat out wasn't. So
yeah, 5-year deal. He gets 2 seasons in. Doesn't I don't know how much he got guaranteed of that, but
too much. That's how too much. All right, let me give you one of mine. You want baseball or basketball? I got 3 baseball and 1 basketball.
Well, let's hear your basketball, because then I have one more baseball one, and then we can end it on that.
All right, well, okay. So my basketball one, Pat, is really hard for me to say. I had to text my friend Kev Jones just for like reassurance that I was that it was like fair for me to say this player. He's a guy very, very close to my heart, very special to me.
Oh God.
It's Kyrie Irving, Pat.
I mean, I'm not surprised at that. I'm not like
my heart literally hurts as I'm saying this. I'm holding back tears. To be honest,
I'd like to hear the reason.
So Kyrie Irving,
he blew a game, didn't he?
No, Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, is someone I really like to watch. I could watch him dribble literally all day. His prime years with the Cavaliers are just a huge, gigantic highlight reel that I could watch all day, every day. He wasn't a terrible Celtic stats-wise. He was a terrible leader. He was soft as shit. He was arrogant. He didn't seem to give a shit about the younger guys on the team. He really just wanted to be the main guy and prove everyone that he could do it on his own. And my friend Kev said the one thing that I think a lot of Celtic fans feel, but I don't know if they'll always voice it. Kyrie Irving is the reason why we did not do better last year, just for simplicity. I truly believe that the Celtics could have beat the Toronto Raptors if they would have got past the Bucks. And I truly believe if Kyrie Irving played like he actually gave a shit, the Celtics would have beat the Bucks. And look, they always played Golden State extremely tough because we were able to match up with them very well, with Smart and Brown and Tatum. And, I mean, Kyrie could score with the best of them when he wanted to. We played good small ball. The Warriors played good small ball. It would have been something, but I think at the end of the day, Kyrie Irving is the reason why that matchup didn't happen. It pains me to say it.
Dude, you're really holding back tears right now.
I am, because I love Kyrie, the basketball player. I mean, he went to Duke. I met one of his friends when I was in college. Kyrie, sorry, man. I really am. But you fucking blew it for the Celtics. And I mean, it's crazy for me, Pat. Like, I was talking to Kev, and he's like, yeah, Kyrie's the only Celtic that I could think of, which is crazy. I mean, Kev has been a Celtic fan a lot longer than I have. So I thought, like, he would have had, like, someone else, but he's like, nah, really just Kyrie. And then I said Tyler Zeller because he went to UNC, so fuck UNC and fuck Tyler Zeller and the whole Zeller family. But, like, that's it. It's so sad. I mean,
it happens. There's guys that you just don't want to hate for any given reason, and it's just you can't help it. Like, there's just something there you're just gonna constantly keep with you. Like,
yeah, I think my major gripe is that I just hate that he was a Celtic because I learned all about the negative things. Like, I learned how my McDonald's hamburger was made with Kyrie Irving on the Celtics. That's the best analogy I can give it.
That's fair. That's a fair analogy. I didn't get it quite for a second, but now I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fuck, man. All right, let's move on.
We can move on. I know it's really hurting you here.
Let's move on to baseball. So I have 3 baseball guys. I know you only have 1 guy left, so I'm going to dominate this time a little bit. And I'm going to go pretty quick.
Do it.
Michael Pineda.
Fair. Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's fair, Pat, but, like, we traded Jesus Montero for him, and Jesus Montero would have been much worse than Michael Pineda. So
because I mean that trade didn't seem to work out on either side. So
it didn't. I mean, and if you were to pick a side it worked out for, you would say the Yankees because Pineda played.
Yeah,
He
Montero
literally
didn't
put
do
on a
shit
uniform.
with Seattle.
Yeah, he was just so inconsistent. Like he could be so good. Like that, there was that one Mother's Day. I think he struck out like 20 guys or close to 20 guys.
Definitely wasn't 20 because that would have been big news. Because that's the league. That's a game record, I think. So
I want to say it was 18. I'm just gonna Google Michael Pineda Mother's Day because that's literally the only thing is Google.
It's definitely. I'm looking up too.
Pinstripe Alley. Let's see. 16 strikeouts.
Yep.
In 7 innings pitched. So, I mean, that was probably the best moment of his Yankee career. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say. It was wildly inconsistent. I always fucking went to a Yankee game when Michael Pineda was pitching. He was just like, you know how you have those guys, like you just, no matter what day of the week it is, you feel like you always see them when you're, at a Met game or a Yankee game. Like Pineda was that guy.
Yep. I have those games where I seemingly go to the same starter every time. Like the last couple of years, it was like Noah Syndergaard.
I mean, that's not bad.
No, but I mean, I would want to try and I think I've only been to one DeGrom game. Actually, 2. I swear I was at his debut.
You were at a DeGrom game 1 year.
Yes, I remember. But I remember his first year, in 2014. I think I went to his debut because it was a doubleheader against the Yankees. And then they had Montero and DeGrom. Yeah. No, it wasn't at Yankee Stadium. It was FC Field.
Oh, I get confused because Michael K. always talks about that game, so I just assume it's at Yankee Stadium. But
no,
he obviously goes to other fields.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, your next guy.
My next guy. So you said Tremaine Johnson was one of the worst contracts your team has ever given out.
Mm-hmm.
So mine is, without a doubt, Kei Igawa.
Jesus. Talk about a fucking name drop right there.
Yeah, this is a deep cut. So I actually forgot how much I hated this guy until I was listening to Talking Yanks a few weeks ago, and John Boy, Kei Igawa somehow came up, and John Boy was like, I hope a listener can do the math on how much the Yankees paid Kei Igawa for, like, per pitch. So obviously, the loyal John Boy fan that I am, I did the math. So, Pat, he signed a 5-year, $20 million contract.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking
but
at
he came over from Japan, so he had a posting fee. So the Yankees paid $26 million posting fee. So in essence, they paid $46 million for him. And he pitched in 2007 and 2008. That's it. In those 2 years.
What happened to him after that?
Who cares? He fucking died. He didn't die. That was rude.
He was demoted, claimed off of. He was claimed by San Diego in 2007. The Yankees held on to him.
Yep.
But then he didn't make the team the following year, and then that was pretty much it.
Yep. So in 2 years, Pat, he threw 1,297 pitches.
Okay, give me the numbers. Let's just get right to it.
So 46 million divided by 1,297 for those at home who already did the math in their head. He got paid $35,466.46 per pitch.
So now
you may say, "Oh, Scott, but what if those pitches were good?" Well, newsflash, they were not. Because Kyle Farnsworth's numbers, Pat, these are even fucking worse.
Okay. Can I just interject real quick?
Go ahead.
The posting fee doesn't necessarily. If you're just talking about the money that was wasted on him, I understand that. But
yes,
if you're talking, I didn't know if you were trying to get the money that he was paid, because they don't get the posting fee. That's team that he's coming from, I believe, gets that. So I just wanted to make sure.
So his contract then was worth $15,000 per pitch then.
It's roughly still bad. But
Yeah, but regardless, the Yankees lost $46 million on K. Gallo. He had a FIP of 6.19.
that's beautiful, man.
In 2007, it was 6.37. Because in 2008, he only started one game. So we're just going to really do 2007. His ERA in 2007 was 6.25. His WHIP was 1.67. In 12 games started, he only had 53 strikeouts,
Oh my God.
37 walks, 15 home runs allowed.
Hold on. Did you see his career?
10.1 hits through 9.
Please read his career ERA in the 2 years.
It's 6.66. He's the fucking
He's
devil.
the devil.
He's the devil. He's literally the devil.
I think it's funny. I don't know why it's so funny, but it really is.
I mean, like,
Yeah, man, these numbers are bad.
so bad.
Oh my God.
People don't realize how fucking bad
Dude,
K. Gallo
Dude, I'm
was.
looking at his 2007 numbers. 48 runs.
Yeah.
47 of them earned. He basically every single run he gave up was because of him, like and no other factors.
Yeah, well, that's how the FIP is so high too. I think that's how.
Yeah, no, that is why the FIP's so high. But that's fucking nuts. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he only threw 4 innings in 2008, but he went up 13 hits, 6 runs, which all 6 were earned, and he faced 24 batters.
I'm curious to know what his numbers in Japan were, because that's just terrible.
I mean, they better
like to get a posting fee for that much, and you just suck that bad. Like I want to see what his numbers were.
I'm on it right now. I think.
I'm just looking at his wiki page. 2003, he had a 20-5 record, 2.8 ERA, 179 strikeouts, and he won the Japanese League's equivalent of the Cy Young.
Yeah.
But then they say his performance started to decline the following years, leading up to his Yankee signing. So
yeah,
it's
sounds about right.
That's bad.
Yeah, I see he did 12 years at the foreign level is how Baseball Reference categorizes it.
Yeah,
and
he played for the Hatin Tigers from 98 to 2006.
And he had a 3.41 ERA. I mean, look, he got his money. God bless him.
And he went back to Japan.
Well, he couldn't show his fucking face in New York anymore.
He went back to Japan. He hasn't pitched since 2014, so clearly his career has been done.
Well, he doesn't need to.
And yeah, sure too.
Hey, for his lifetime.
Hey, but you never know, because there are guys, especially in Japan, who you would think wouldn't still be playing. I did this the other day. I looked for just randomly. Justin Bohr, who decided to go play over in Japan. He signed a deal with I forgot what team.
He was the guy in the Marlins, right? Who
big dude, big first baseman. Yeah. I forgot what team he's on right now, but a guy on his team that a lot of people might remember, may not, Kosuke Fukudome.
I remember that guy.
Yeah, I think he's like 43 now, and he's still playing.
Well, Manny plays there too, right?
No, Manny, he was. I don't know if he was there or if he was in Korea.
I mean, same thing, same shit.
I mean, it's not. Let's.
Yeah, for the purpose of the end of the bench show, it's the same shit. Okay. It's Asia.
I mean, if you want to go that route, sure. But anyways, yeah. Let me get his exact age, Kosuke Fukudoma's, because I saw it. I'm like, holy shit! I'm shocked that he's even still like playing. Yeah, he's 43. He played in America from 2008 to 2012. I don't have the exact numbers, but guys, Japanese players, if they're done playing here, regardless of how much money they made, and they get a spot back home, they're going to keep playing. I mean, he's been playing with this team since he left America. So he's been playing on this team since 2013. So, I mean, God bless him.
God bless him is right. All right, Pat. You can go. I'll finish. I'll finish
Okay.
after you.
All right. So my last guy is probably a guy that a lot of people don't remember that he was a Met. I remember it because I just remembered how poorly he played, and just how he seemed like he just didn't care. And that was Roberto Alomar. Again, a lot of people forget that he was on the 2002 and 2003 Met teams. He, as we know, Hall of Famer, star second baseman for so many years in his career. We did get him on the back end of his career, but you still think that you get a little bit of something out of him. For the Mets in those 2 seasons, he had a 265 average, a 703 OPS, but he just gave off of. It almost seemed like he stopped trying. He kind of gave off I'm almost done here. Like, my career's over. I'm just trying to earn the last bit of money that I can. And the reason I also remember him now is because a lot of people started bringing up, after what happened to Robbie Cano this past season about, his production decline and everything like that. It's like, oh, great. We have another Robbie Alomar situation where you're getting a guy who was a stud in his prime coming here in the back end of the career, and it's just going to be a waste of money. I don't know the exact salary these 2 years with the Mets, probably not a huge amount. But yeah, I remember every time I think of Robbie Alomar and the Mets, I just get just this sour taste in my mouth. I don't necessarily hate him, but I hated him during his time with the Mets.
Yeah, and I'm not really going to touch on Robbie Alomar because I don't really remember him that well, but you said a name that I wanted to ask you about. Do you think Robinson Cano could end up on a list like this for some Met fans, maybe after his career is over? Because I think if he has some bounce back years, you guys will forgive him for his dreadful.
I don't think if he comes back and does some decent stuff, especially if the designated hitter is taken into account full time in the National League, then that's Cano's spot. That could ultimately help his production. Then he just has to focus on offensive numbers. I don't think it's necessarily his play that people hate. It's just going to ultimately be that trade. But we'll know more once we see what Jared Kelenic does for the Mariners. I mean, Mets scouts and fans and all that were really high on him. I know I was. I saw this kid could be, an absolute star. And he was still very young at the time. I think now he's not even like 20 years old. And he's only gotten better in Seattle. And scouts are saying he could have been up. I mean, we don't know how this year's working. He could have been up as early as the end of this year. So what really makes Robbie Cano potentially being on this list for a lot of Met fans is how that trade at the end works out. How Kelenic does if Robbie continues to not have, the numbers that we would hope that he would put up. Obviously, he's not going to put up like 30-plus home runs, but decent average, decent, slugging numbers. But only time will tell, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, you're going to see how Edwin Diaz pans out again.
Well, I mean, I feel like there are so many, Mets on the current roster that I thought would have been on this list. Like, I guess Edwin Diaz is a little unfair because it's like 1 year, But in a vacuum, I mean, he belongs on a list like this. But then I also think of like Jeurys Familia, but I remember his first time around, he was, better than he was the last year.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's nostalgia going in there. But
I mean, a lot of Mets, I can think of a lot of Mets that people probably would put on their list of most hated guys. Most obvious that would probably come to mind would be Bobby Bonilla. But the only reason so many people know that is because of Bobby Bonilla Day, and I guarantee you, people who do hate him nowadays, like young fans, they'll be like, "Oh, fuck Bobby Bonilla." You probably don't realize
that's a Wilpon thing, not a Bobby Bonilla.
Exactly. That if you're Bobby Bonilla, you would take that deal because he ultimately ends up making more money. Other guys I can think of that they put on that list would be Mo Vaughn, similar to Robbie Alomar. End of his career, didn't put up a lot of numbers. I always liked Mo Vaughn, so I'm not going to shit on Mo Vaughn, regardless of how bad his years with the Mets were. Jeurys Familia could be put on that. Armando Benitez could be put on that. I know a lot of people didn't like Tom Glavine, simply because, you know, he was a Brave, comes over to New York and you know, he blew the end of the 2007 season. I remember that game. Don't want to get into that. Yeah, so I can think of a lot of Mets that would be put on this for a lot of other people. But I guess only time will tell if guys like Edwin Diaz and Robbie Cano and any current players will be on that list in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't mean to turn this into like a, you know, a Mets hate kind of thing. I just when I was doing this, like I had trouble finding like thinking of current Yankees, but then I thought of like a bunch of current Mets that I wouldn't have been surprised if either you said or we got like listener responses.
See, I didn't want to give any current players really.
That's fair. I mean, because their story isn't fully written, so I mean that's
exactly.
Fair.
So
one guy, my last guy, Pat, is the guy that I provided as an example to the listeners of like who we were expecting to see. So I put up on Instagram at @the_on_the_bench, you know, most hated players who've played for your team. And, you know, it could have been a little misleading because it could have been like, you know, publicly not liked or, you know, like off the field stuff or whatever. Because obviously, Pat, I mean, we didn't mention Jose Reyes. We didn't mention Aroldis Chapman. Obviously, we don't condone anything that they did or were accused of or anything like that. But, I mean, they didn't make either list. But I digress. Anyway, Jacoby Ellsbury is my number one guy. I did this episode with him in mind. He's a fucking bum, bro. That's really all he is.
I mean, you're talking about contract killers.
I mean, honestly, dude, I'm lucky I'm a Yankee fan.
On that list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky I'm a Yankee fan because no other team in baseball besides, you know, maybe the Dodgers or a team ran by Dave Dombrowski could outspend the Jacoby Ellsbury mistake. I don't even know the contract value. It's an absurd number. I don't want to look it up because I'm still kind of depressed from my Kyrie Irving conversation.
I won't tell you exactly what he signed for, but I'm gonna look it up again to just
the
confirm.
last season.
Hello. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
I mean, it's like what, 136 million or something.
Yeah, no, it's 153.
That's close enough for like what, 7 years for 6 years.
7-year deal.
Yeah. So he last played in 2017. I think when was his first year with I don't know if this is his first year, whatever. 2015 AL wildcard game. I think this was the first one, Pat, where it was like the one game, like deciding thing where it wasn't a series.
Okay.
We played the Astros. Dallas Keuchel was pitching in his heyday. Just signed Jacoby Ellsbury to this monster deal. And he doesn't start the game. And from there on, I was like, okay, well, this is clearly not gonna work out. Like, I understand lefty, but like, I don't remember the roster fully then.
I got it up right here. I don't have.
But while you look it up, Chris Young probably started the game, to be honest, because it was a lefty, and Chris Young played a lot against lefties.
I think it was Chris Young.
Yeah.
The outfield must have been.
It was Young, Beltran, and Gardner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, his regular season is his regular season. I mean, he has talent, so he's going to put up, you know, okay numbers in a regular season. You know, his worst batting average year was 257 in 2015 for the Yankees, which, you know, he was typically at the top of the lineup, so it's, you know, not what you want, but, you know, whatever. His postseason is where it kills us, honestly. I mean, 2015, he got one at bat, so it was probably late in the game, pinch hit once Dallas Keuchel was out. I don't know what he did, but he got out. So 0 batting average, 0 on base. 2017 AL wildcard game, he started, got 4 at bats against the Twins. Nothing, all zeros, no walks, nothing. 2017 ALDS against the Indians, 7 plate appearances, He walked twice, so that's good. No hits, still no hits. So we're still waiting on a hit in the postseason from Jacoby Ellsbury. 2017 ALCS against Houston again. One plate appearance, the whole series. He scored a run. What the fuck? How do you score a run and only strike out? I don't know.
Walk if I pitch.
No, there's no walk. It's just a strikeout.
Let me see.
But whatever. So the moral of the story is, guys, Jacoby Ellsbury did not get one fucking hit with the Yankees in the postseason. Coming from Boston, where he was in the postseason 4 years, in 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2013, and he got a hit. He got multiple hits in almost every single series he was a part of for the Boston Red Sox in the playoffs. And that is why I hate Jacoby Ellsbury. He's literally known for being very, very good at getting a catcher's interference call.
Right.
And that's it. Couldn't throw for shit. Had a noodle for an arm. He didn't steal many bases, partially because of, the Yankees don't really steal a lot of bases in general, so it's hard for me to hold that again. Oh, he had a good 2014. He had 39. He actually stole 20 plus every season. So I take that back. But yeah, Jacoby Ellsbury, he could shit in the hat for all I care. He's a piece of shit. I hate him. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but terrible baseball player for the Yankees. And that's my rant.
And on that note, yeah, I was just looking at his numbers again. That's pretty nuts. No hits for the Yankees.
And he was so good with Boston.
Well, yeah,
that's what
garnered the 7-year, $153 million deal.
That's what hurts the most, honest. No, because I could get over us paying him 7 years, 153 off a really good stretch of seasons with another team, but the fact that that other team was Boston is what gets me. Like, if he had those numbers with, like, the Angels, the fucking A's, like any other team, it would have been okay. But the fact that it was Boston just kills me. Absolutely kills me. And then he got hurt, quote unquote, for 2 years. Pretty sure the Yankees just told him to go away.
Probably. Yeah, I think that's what they did. So.
I forgot the injuries, but I asked Allie, because for those who don't know, Allie is my sister. She's an athletic trainer. And I was like, how can you get this injury while you have this injury? And she was like, you would literally have to try to injure yourself in order to pull that off. So that's all I need to know. That was fun. That was fun. Let's end it on a happier note, though, Pat, because I have good news that I didn't want to share in the beginning. The End of the Bench Show shirts for the monthly supporters shipped today on Wednesday. I should have them, unless FedEx is lying to me, on the 11th. So they will be, if I get them on the 11th, the monthly supporters will get them this weekend. I do not care how long I have to work this weekend. The listeners will get them. So that is very good. And Pat, like I told you before, with this episode, unless it completely shits the bed and no one likes us, we will have surpassed our monthly listenership from last year. Last year? Whew, that would have been some month. From last month. So this was a very big episode for the End of the Bench Show, and I think we did it well.
I think we did so too. I mean, the topic was fun. We had our mailbag come in. So
yeah, shout out Nick Taborski again with the mailbag, just producing episodes left and right. But yeah, that's it. That's where I want to end. Unless you have anything else you wanna hit.
Only thing I can say is another proposal on the board between MLB owners and the Players Union. Let's see if it brings anything. I don't know if it does, because the money is still money and number of games is still the primary focus for the two. They're still very much off. So we'll see. Both sides have agreed that July 10th would be the start date for a season, but you still have to come to terms on all the other aspects. So we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed.
It's gonna be a shit show, that's for sure. And yeah, the MLB draft is tonight. So by the time people listen to this, it'll probably be over. But yeah, if you're one of those sickos who care about the MLB draft, I hope you had a great time watching it. I think you can find it on the MLB Network.
Thank you.
And I mean, you can only assume, right? I mean, I know it's not on ESPN. That's for damn sure.
Well, I don't want to watch anything that's on ESPN. So,
all right, so let's wrap it up there.
Yep.
Pat, thank you very much for joining me again.
Always a pleasure.
Everyone, thank you for listening and watching. Wherever you're listening or watching, please rate, review, subscribe. It really helps us out. Follow us on Instagram at the_and at the bench, Twitter at the EOTB. You want to be a supporter and get a free shirt. The link is in all the descriptions, all the podcast descriptions, and 50% of your monthly support goes to No Kid Hungry. Pat, I will see you next time, my friend. Take it easy.
Take care, buddy.